So here, let's talk a little bit about you. You have a background that's in mental health and some specialties there. Talk about how that impacts policing and what we hear now. Some places are saying we're going to defund the police, and part of the monies are going to go to mental health expert. Explain to folks who are listening what that means exactly.
Well, people have to understand that policing is already a profession where it's understaffed. And they're talking about defunding the police. Maybe we should talk about the reallocation of some resources. Mental health is very important in police, and policing is one of the most stressful jobs. Uh, Officers are committing suicide at astronomical rates, three times uh, higher levels within the past 5 years. You will also see that when it comes to police response to calls. If they're working patrol and they're working a 12-hour period, they're responding to call after call after call without any time to decompress. And that shows over the period of a police officer's career that they're stressed, that takes a toll on them mentally. Because if we sit back and think about it, most people don't call the police when they're having something good going on. They call the police when they're at their worst.
That is true. That if people think about
Mhm.
the times that they call the police for something good, I'm not saying that's going to be a number. That may be zero.
Right. And so with the mental health piece, it's just important that police agencies, organizations in the cities or municipalities that they work for also programs that give the officer the opportunity to decompress, whether that's a peer support program where they have somebody that they can talk to, whether that's sending them to reach, where there's mental health services provided because they need the opportunity to decompress so that when they come back to work or when they are performing duties, they're well trained and they have a clear mind where they're able to focus and provide the services that are necessary. A lot of the times, officers are stressed or they haven't been able to focus because they just saw something horrendous. They could have just been on the homicide scene 5 minutes before they have to go over here for a domestic assault or for a child abuse. And so they're running all of these images and incidents all together. There needs to be a period of decompression. And I know you remember from the military, AARs, when we did the after action
Yes,
reports and we talked about what happened. That needs to be a more common thing in policing. They need to be able to talk about things that happen so that they can release those stressors and they'll be able to perform their duties the next go around.
let me ask you, how important is it, or is it not important that police officers sort of live in the community where they live, where they work? Is that important?
I think it's very important. I think that if you, it gives you a stake in the goings on because you're invested in that area. And for a lot of patrolmen or detectives and things like that, they're not necessarily obligated to live in the communities that they serve, but the administrators, a lot of the time, uh, are mandated or asked to live in the communities that they serve, so that when they're putting out policies, they understand.
The impact of the policies.
Correct.
Let's talk a little bit about being, well, a black woman in the police business and the recruiting of minorities to go into police work. Let's talk a little bit about those two things.
Well, um, being a minority, a black female in policing, we are definitely underrepresented. And traditionally, policing has been a field for Caucasian males. And the the policies that are put out, a lot of people say that it's a lot of systematic racism. I think that if policies were were implemented towards the cities and municipalities that they serve, there would be a lot less of it. And then if people saw folks that look like them responding to their calls, who understand their culture, you know, uh, who understand some of the things that they're going through, the interactions would be more positive.
Alrighty, folks. Chief Shayla Nelson. So you're being asked to speak. What are the topics that folks want you to speak on when you're requested to talk?
People are asking about police interaction, like citizen police contact. They're asking about policies, de- uh, dealing with the police, mental health. It's a variety of things. Community policing efforts, things that bridge the gap between the police and the community, which I think is what's really needed right now with all of the things that are going on across our country. People want to understand the purpose of police and what we should and shouldn't be doing.
One of the things I think when you look at a police department, you talk about funding. I think the one thing that the public notices with police departments that have money and don't are the cars that the police drive. When you see the
Hmm.
police driving a car that